Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Guru Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse 25, and the chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. And we will start with the opening invocation prayers, and we'll go straight into the class and discussion. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nittai Gaura Haribo 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 Nittai Gaura Haribo Nittai Gaura Haribo 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 Nittai Gaura Haribo Jayam Vishnupad Paramasa Parigvacharya Stotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramasa Parigvacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhana Ki Jai वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री माई प्रधाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Tinamani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Pachadakmani Shri Guru Kana Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pachyatya Deshatharane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. As we mentioned that we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse 25. And the chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. I will chant the Sanskrit 3 times and I request devotees to please chant after me. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nivartayet yata tam jikrishat satya dharmoyam anrite naidita kali. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nirvatayet yata tam jikrishat satya dharmoyam anrite naidita kali. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nirvartayet yata tam jigrishyatya dharmoyam anirte naidita kali. Hare Krishna.
Idanim dharma padaste satyam nirvartayedyata tam jigikshatya dharmoyam anitene dita kali. Hare.
Thank you. Anyone would like to try? It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but if we go really slow, we'll get it straight.
Okay.
Go ahead, Varsha.
Yeah. Mataji, can you bring it little down?
Yes, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Idanim dharma padyaste satyam nirvatyatatah tam chikrakshatya dharmoyam anratte naititah kalihi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Varsha. It's nice to hear your voice. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go for the word-for-word translation. Idanim, at the present moment. Dharma, or personality of religion. Pada, leg. Te, of you. Satyam, truthfulness. Nirvartayit, hobbling along somehow or other. Yata, whereby. Tam, that. Jigrikshati, trying to destroy. Adharma, the personality of irreligion. Ayam, this. Anirtina, by deceit. Editha, flourishing. Kali, quarrel, personified. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling along. By quarrel personified, Kali, flourishing by deceit, is also trying to destroy that leg. Purport. The principles of religion do not stand on some dogmas or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observances, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting. Fasting twice or four times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only, and not for any other purposes, political or otherwise. Fastings which are meant not for self-realization, but for some other purpose are condemned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verses 5 to 6. Similarly, cleanliness is necessary both for the mind and for the body. Simply bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanliness of the mind is necessary, and it is affected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. No one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. A godless civilization cannot cleanse the mind because it has no idea of God. And for the simple reason, people under such a civilization cannot have good qualifications. However, they may be materially equipped. We have to see things by their resultant action. The resultant action of human civilization in the age of Kali is dissatisfaction. So everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. This peace of mind was complete in the Satya age because of the existence of the above mentioned attributes of the human beings. Gradually, these attributes have diminished the Treta Yuga to 3/4, in the Dwapara Yuga to half, and in this age of Kali to 1/4, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificially or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavad Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils of all description. Om Maganya Timirandhyasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation: You are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling along. By quarrel personified Kali, flourishing by deceit is also trying to destroy that leg. This is a very, very powerful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, I was reading it last night and just right now, just reading Srila Prabhupada's purport, and if we really go slow, that's one thing I have come to realize, that if we read Srila Prabhupada's purport slow, word by word, and read it out loud, and digest it, the answers are all in the purport. It's so powerful because Srila Prabhupada made it very simple for us to understand and very, very straightforward. Like really straightforward. There's no two ways about it. So here Srila Prabhupada is talking about the principles of religion. That is austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. And we need these four main principles. It's called the 4 pillars of religion. There's actually a very nice little booklet. I don't know if it's still in print or not, but it used to be in print about, I want to say about 20 years ago in ISKCON. It's called the 4 pillars of religion. It's about a 100-page booklet, very powerful, how it ties in the 4 pillars of religion with the 4 regulative principles, rules and regulations of ISKCON. The 4 pillars of religion, which was mentioned in class yesterday by Vishugadha Prabhu, is very much tied to why we don't eat meat, why there is no illicit sex, why there is no intoxication and gambling, and why there is no what did I miss? Meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. Yes, these 4. Yes. Why they are all tied into the 4 pillars of religion. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying is, in each yuga, one went off, one leg went off, one leg went off. One of the pillars of religion has been chopped off. And now that we're in Kali Yuga, the last leg that Dharma is standing on, the bull, is truthfulness. And Srila Prabhupada said, even that is, it's wobbly. You know, he's hobbling. I mean, Srila Prabhupada used the word, somehow or the other, hobbling along. Imagine how sad it is that we have lost mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and now truthfulness is just hobbling. It can fall at any time. That's what hobble means. Hobbling is when we are hobbling and, and we can fall at any time. Very, very sad situation. But we need these 4 principles of religion, austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, to understand and know our relationship with Krishna. That is the Bhagavad Dharma. We need to build the 4 pillars of religion to understand Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says, is interestingly how Srila Prabhupada uses the word fasting in relation to austerity. That really hit me last night when I was reading this purport. I said, I never, yes, I do know that fasting is austere, but to think of it as an austerity in a deeper spiritual sense, I never really thought about that until I read this purport. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned very, very clearly that fasting should only be done for spiritual realization. And he goes on to say, fasting for any other purposes is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita. Because why? Because if fasting is not done for spiritual realization, then it's done for material sense gratification, right? We have come across, I'm sure some of us know of situations where, people fast because they want to get good grades in school. That's material. They want to get a better job. That's material. They want to get a good husband, a handsome looking husband. That's material. They want to get a beautiful wife. That's material. They want to get, whatever, any other thing. But how many times have we know or have heard of people fasting because they want to grow spiritually? That is never in our minds. Generally speaking, in the general population, those that fast, they don't fast, oh, Krishna, I'm fasting because I want to advance spiritually. Krishna, I'm fasting because I really want to come closer to you. Krishna, I'm fasting because I want to get a taste of your holy name. Krishna, I'm fasting because I really, really need your mercy. We don't hear that. We only hear fasting in the mood of, I want this for my benefit, material benefit, a job, a house, a car, good grades, finish college, get a degree, good husband, good wife, good children. That's what it's all material. That is the reason why when we fast on spiritual holy days, like we just did fasting for Balaram Purnima, which was a half-day fast. And why did we fast? Because Lord Balaram is the original guru of the Guru Tattva. And Balaram is the Lord that we pray to for spiritual strength. So when we fast for Lord Balaram on his appearance day, his birthday, we are praying to Lord Balaram, please give me spiritual strength. Give me a taste of chanting of your holy name. Keep me in devotee association and engage me in your service. That is going to give us spiritual strength. That's why we fast on Balaram Purnima. And the next upcoming that we have to fast that too all day is Janmashtami. And why do we fast on Janmashtami? Because we fast because one, it's the birthday and the appearance of Lord Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And two is we want his mercy. We want to have a taste of his holy name. We want to grow closer in his service. We want to be in his devotee association. So we fast. And whenever we fast on Janmashtami, it's a struggle. Even I struggle because it's an all-day fast till midnight, right? So when we fast, we're thinking, Krishna, this is so austere, but I'm doing it because I want to come closer to you. I'm doing it because I want to have a taste of your holy name. I'm doing it because I want to serve you. That is why we meditate on the fasting. So fasting is very austere, but it should be done for spiritual realization only. That is one of the pillars of religion, austerity. And austerity is needed. Imagine if everything is beautiful and hunky-dory, we have all this, comfortable lifestyle. Will we remember Krishna? I was talking to one person that was visiting our temple this past weekend, and this person was telling me that whenever he's in trouble, he remembers Krishna. But when he's not in trouble, he doesn't remember Krishna. And he says, I'm very selfish. I said, we all are. Because when everything is going well, when everything, when we have our material needs met, our material comforts met, everything is wonderfully, done. We don't have a little bit of inconvenience. we hardly remember Krishna. We hardly remember the devotees. We hardly remember to chant our rounds. We hardly remember to do devotional service. But when we are going through tough times, we're like, oh my God, Krishna, are you punishing me? No, Krishna is not punishing us. Whenever we go through tough times, we think, oh, the Lord is punishing us. No, he's not punishing us. We are going through tough times because it's karma. We are, as we say, we are burning our karma from, many lifetimes. We have done enough crap, right? So we're burning our karma. Like when Dhritarashtra, when he was born blind, he blamed his mother. Oh, because my mother closed her eyes when she was conceiving me, now I'm blind. No, 50 lifetimes ago, you shot a 100 baby birth in a baby nest, in a mother's nest, and you killed all the 100 birds and you blinded the mother bird. That's why you are blind. It's not because your mother closed her eyes. That may be there, but that's not the whole reason. So we have karma. So when we go through tough times, it's not that Krishna is punishing us. We are going through lessons that we have to learn. But it's only through difficult times that we remember Krishna. But that is not enough. We have to remember Krishna 24/7. That's the austerity. I remember one devotee was mentioning that when he first joined Krishna consciousness about 40, 50 years ago, he thought that by chanting by doing his japa every morning in the cold, standing on the cement floor outside, Krishna, he can attract the Lord because he's doing so much austerity. So the temple president came out and saw this devotee like 5 or 6 in the morning, standing on the porch outside on the cold cement barefoot, chanting his japa. And the temple president asked this devotee, what are you doing? He says, I'm performing some austerity, chanting the holy name, my japa, in the cold on a cement floor. He says, are you crazy? He says, you're not going to attract Krishna like that. Chanting the holy name itself in austerity. Why put yourself through so much headache? Just focus on attentive chanting. That's the austerity. So austerity, we need to take a little bit of austerity for spiritual realization. As Prabhupada says, we have to accept some sufferings, some difficult times, some discomfort of the body, some losses, like Mother Kunti did. Mother Kunti prayed for problems. I can't do that. I honestly can't do that. But she's a very elevated, pure devotee of the Lord. And she prayed for problems. Why? Because she says, Krishna, please keep giving me calamity so I can always remember you, because she knows if there was no calamity, she won't remember Krishna. That's the austerity. So we need some austerity to help us remember the Lord. Austerity is actually a blessing. Sometimes we look at it as negative, punishment, chastisement, but it's actually a blessing, because that's when we remember Krishna the most. So here Srila Prabhupada saying is very, very important that we experience some level of austerity, some level of discomfort, some level of suffering, some level of, downtimes, because it's very conducive. That's, Prabhupada used the word conducive. It's very conducive for spiritual realization, because austerity can be ruined by pride, Srila Prabhupada says, right in the purport. When we become very proud, we will not appreciate, we will not be able to deal with austerity, because we're very proud. Oh, I am this, I own this. Everything belongs to me. I did this, I did that. We become very proud of our lineage, of our ancestors, of our material degrees and material advancements and challenges and achievements and all that stuff. That's pride. It's not making us humble. Austerity can be ruined by pride. Another point that Srila Prabhupada mentions here is cleanliness. And interestingly, Prabhupada says it's not only the external, but it's also the internal, the mind, the cleanliness of the mind. And that comes from chanting of the holy name. The more and more we chant the holy name and we chant out loud, we have to hear, we don't have to shout, but audible enough where we can hear ourselves chanting, because that will check our minds, because the mind is going to travel. Mind travels. It takes only, a split of a second for it to travel. We got to keep bringing it back. We got to keep bringing it back. We got to keep bringing it back. What Prabhupada is saying here is that the mind needs to be cleaned. Yes, the mind and the body, the external and the internal, they both have to be cleansed. And not just one time, it's a daily process. Cleaning of the mind and the body is a daily process. Just like how we take bath every day, we brush our teeth every day, we clean every day, we cook, everything that we do that involves cleanliness, we do it every day, every time, more than once or twice or three times a day. In that same mood, in that same manner, we have to be cleaning our minds every day throughout the day. And this can be done by always glorifying the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says very clearly, no one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. So we always have to be glorifying Krishna. We always have to be chanting. And how do we glorify Krishna? By chanting his holy name. Very simple. Glorifying the Supreme Lord means chanting his holy name, discussing about the Lord's glorification, discussing about the Lord's devotees. Krishna is very, very pleased when we sing the glories of his devotees more than him. He's very, very, very pleased. And Srila Prabhupada says, cleanliness of the mind can be ruined by too much female association, which means Vaishnava etiquette. How it's so important that we really, follow and abide the Vaishnava etiquette. So important. His Holiness Bhakti Swami has put together a beautiful manual for Vaishnava etiquette, and it's very important for devotees to read and understand and learn the proper Vaishnava etiquette. Why we do what we do, why we don't do, why, how we do, when we do, where we do. Very, very important. Vaishnava etiquette is so important. In fact, Srila Prabhupada says that Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of the devotee, because that is cleanliness. Because Vaishnava etiquette is very much related and directly affected by the cleanliness of the mind. That is the reason why Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. And if we read Bhakti Swami's manual, he literally says in his first chapter, Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of the devotee. And ornament is supposed to be very beautiful, very attractive, right? When we think of ornament, we think of a jewel or a decorative piece, something like that, something very pretty. And we make sure that that ornament is always shining and clean and, protected and preserved, right? That is the devotee's life. Always clean, shiny. Our Vaishnava etiquette should show by our behavior, by our dealings, by our interaction, by our language. Very important, very, very important. That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada says that cleanliness is very much related with Vaishnava etiquette. Because when we have that ornament of Vaishnava etiquette in us, it shows the cleanliness of our minds. And then Srila Prabhupada talks about mercy. And mercy is ruined by addiction and intoxication. Completely. Addiction and intoxication. When we are addicted to something, how will we get knowledge? How will we get mercy? You know, like nowadays we see young people, you know, everything is those gadgets. Actually, I can't even say young people. It now that, and sadly, unfortunately, it has gotten to the so-called older generation also. The young people have taught the older generation how to become texting zombies, you know, on the streets, down the streets, in the stores, everywhere. It's really sad. Few years ago, it was only the young generation, now even the old generation. Like sometimes when I see devotees in the temple, you know, as soon as there's chanting of the holy name, you know, when we're having bhajans before the class, we all come and we sit down. But sadly, some time ago, a few years ago, you would see the young people sitting down and they're texting. Now we see the older generation taking their cell phones out and texting and surfing and browsing and not paying attention to the chanting of the holy name in the temple. So this disease has been passed on to the older generation. And then we wonder why the 4 pillars of religion, well, now is the one last leg. That last leg is very wobbly, as you probably, it's hobbling. You know, so mercy is ruined by addiction and intoxication. We have to check, what are we addicted to? We have to, have this habit of daily self-inventory. What am I addicted to? What am I attached to? Addiction and intoxication relates to our attachments. What am I attached to? Because whatever we are attached to is what we are addicted to. And when we are addicted to something, we are naturally intoxicated. We're naturally intoxicated. And addiction and intoxication literally ruins the mercy factor. Literally ruins the mercy factor. Because it takes over our mind. It takes over our mind. The last leg that we are all hobbling now, the austerity leg, the cleanliness, and the mercy, the 3 legs of the dharma, the bull, is gone. So we have to bring it into ourselves, into our lives, by practicing Krishna consciousness, the Bhagavad Dharma. But the last leg that the dharma, the bull, is hobbling on is truthfulness. And that is ruined by lies. Srila Prabhupada said lies. It's everywhere. Now, what is really sad, as Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, it's hobbling. So it can fall off at any time because Kali Yuga is progressing. So we have to make sure that we are always truthful in all our dealings. And again, that ties in with Vaishnava etiquette. We have to be very truthful in all our dealings, in our language, in our speech, in our interactions, in our association, in our behavior. Very, very truthful. My spiritual master used to say to us years ago that a devotee's life is an open book. And when people hear open book, it means, oh, I have no secrets. Now my whole secret is out. Everybody knows my crap. No, an open book means we are truthful. An open book doesn't mean, oh, I cannot keep my secrets. Nobody should know my secrets. Nobody should know my weaknesses. Nobody should know my addictions. Nobody should know my attachments. The more we think like that, we are not truthful. The more we have that mentality of, Oh, I have to hide this in my closet. I have to hide that in my closet. I have to hide this in my closet. Closet meaning not the bedroom closet, but the closet within our minds is what I'm talking about here. The more we kind of keep everything in our closet, the more we are not being truthful. That means when we are not being truthful, it's like we have what they say, two faces. Outside, I'm this person. In my house, I'm another person. Double standards, I think is the word, you know. So a devotee's life should be open book, truthful. I'm weak. Okay. I'm struggling. Okay. Help me. Right? Open book means truthfulness, allowing us to receive the mercy to grow in our Krishna consciousness. And when that is being wobbly, Srila Prabhupada says, because, people in general are very scared to be an open book. And they want to hide things in their closet, but that's the danger. It's very dangerous because then we are not allowing the mercy to flow through. We are blocking the mercy. So Srila Prabhupada says, he talks about dissatisfaction. How dissatisfaction leads to anxiety and lack of peace. Look around us. Who is happy? Everybody is running after the, happiness. But Prabhupada says in this material world, it's only temporary happiness, not permanent happiness. If we want permanent happiness, then we have to take shelter of the spiritual master and of Krishna. That's where we will find permanent happiness. In this material world, everything is temporary happiness. It's like chanchal, flinching. It comes and it goes. Stood up a second. Chanchal is very, very chanchal, very flinching. So there is no satisfaction in this material world. There's just anxiety and lack of peace. But by the mercy of our spiritual master, we are able to find peace in Krishna consciousness by building a relationship with Krishna. And that is the Bhagavad Dharma that Srila Prabhupada is saying in this last sentence, that we have to revive our Bhagavad Dharma. And what is Bhagavad Dharma? Well, Bhagavad Dharma is living according to the instructions of the Supreme Lord. That is Bhagavad Dharma. Living according to the instructions of the Supreme Lord. And what are those instructions? We build a relationship with Krishna and execute our duties in that relationship. So we must find out who is God? What is God? Where is God? What is my relationship with Krishna? And once we find out what is my relationship with Krishna, then the next thing is, what is my duty? Das anudas. What is my duty? And once we understand once we build a relationship with Krishna, we understand our relationship and we learn what is my duty with Krishna according to the instructions given by the Lord. That is called Bhagavad Dharma. In simple terms, Bhagavad Dharma means Bhakti Yoga, the science of devotional service, the link to devotional service. And once we revive the Bhagavad Dharma in the human society, proper human civilization, once we go out onto the streets, we share Prabhupada's instructions, we give his books, we chant the holy name, we do Harinam Sankirtan, we are in a proper right devotee association, we engage in devotional service, we revive our Bhagavad Dharma. Once we revive our Bhagavad Dharma and share that same Bhagavad Dharma with others, and so that we can help them to know, learn about God. Who is God? Where is God? What is my relationship with God? And what is my duty towards Him? Once we learn that, once we understand that, once we build that, once we wholeheartedly embrace that, only then will we understand our position as Das, Anudas, Bhagavad Dharma, which is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. And the more we do that, we will be able to understand the 4 pillars of religion. We will be able to experience and accept austerity. We will understand the signs of cleanliness. We will understand the signs of mercy, and we will understand the signs of truthfulness. It's only through it is only through Bhakti Yoga, the science of Bhagavad Dharma, that we can revive the 4 pillars of religion, which are the principles of religion that has been spoken here in this verse by Srila Prabhupada in our Krishna consciousness. And the more we share this with others, hopefully the last leg will not be hobbling. It is hobbling because we can see a lot of, propaganda around us, a lot. But but by the chanting of the holy name, if we can hold back, Chandramali Swami says the chanting of the holy name is what's going to push back Kali Yuga. The more we spread the holy name, the more we spread the chanting of the holy name, the more we do Harinam Sankirtan, the more we give out Prabhupada's books, the more we share the science of Krishna consciousness, we are pushing back the adverse effects of Kali Yuga because it is detrimental. We can't even imagine it. We can't even imagine it. And we are in this chapter, which is called the punishment and reward of Kali. So the more we really focus and spend our time to really revive our relationship with Krishna, the more we will be able to embrace and accept and live the 4 principles of religion, which is austerity, mercy, cleanliness, and truthfulness. So this was my realization when I was preparing for this class. Very, very powerful. And I really request devotees, when you have time, to reread this verse and really go slow and really read one word at a time and digest it and meditate on it. And if you have questions, write down and reach out to us and really read it, because it's all there. It's all there. It's beautiful, powerful, packed verse by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ji Jai. Are there any questions, comments, takeaways, reflections? Please do unmute yourself. Hare Krishna, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai.
I'm glad you spent time to, well, Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, true enough, but I'm glad you also spent time on austerity, what austerity is to a devotee, when to perform austerity, especially the fasting. And yes, it is in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text 5 to 6. And it's talking about how, because I looked it up, how those who fast for other reasons than the spiritual reasons, that's the type of fasting that's done by demons. They want control, they want material control. So that's what's there in chapter 17, paraphrasing it, text 5 and 6. Yes, and you've also admitted how fasting can be difficult, because of course your stomach will remind you that you have not eaten in 4 hours. You'll go through that. But when we focus on Krishna while we're fasting, then everything becomes worthwhile. We're giving our hearts to the Lord. It also helps us to tell the Lord by that action that whatever inconvenience is there, we're willing to go through to serve the Lord. So that's what kind of came to me when you talked about the fasting part of this lecture. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. What really helps when we are fasting on auspicious days, like Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Nrsimha Chaturdasi, Ram Navami, all this, Balaram Purnima, all those auspicious days. The mind is what is the problem. The mind is the rascal, Srila Prabhupada says, we have to hold, we have to control the mind like holding the reins of the horses. What really helps the mind is, while we are fasting, is engaging in service. The more we engage in service, the more we are doing something, and not focusing on the mind saying, eat, 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 while you're fasting, eat. It really, really helps. And again, it's an austerity. And again, the mind, as Prabhupada says, right, cleanliness of the mind is necessary. So when we are taking the austerity to fast on Vaishnava days, Vaishnava holy days, the mind is being a rascal. So now we have to clean the mind. Now, how do we clean the mind while performing austerity by fasting? Is we engage in more service. And the more service we engage on such days, the mind is being controlled, because you're telling the mind, I'm too busy to eat. I can't think of prasadam right now because I got to do service, which means it's an austerity and you're cleaning the mind at the same time. So it's like two birds with one stone, as they say. It's austerity and cleanliness. So thank you for bringing the point up. That was a good point. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other points from devotees? Any other thoughts, reflection, takeaway that you would like to share in this very, very powerful lecture by Srila Prabhupada? And you'll see that this lecture, in the previous purports and the one going forward, Srila Prabhupada really spends some time reiterating the 4 principles of religion in different purports in different ways. And why is that so? That it's a message to us that we need to really meditate on the 4 pillars of religion. We need to really meditate on austerity, mercy, cleanliness, and truthfulness, and how we can, how important are these 4 principles in advancing in our spiritual life, in Krishna consciousness. Very important. Any other takeaways from devotees? Any thoughts, any reflections, any takeaways, any questions? Please, you can just jump right in, or you can put it in the chat and I'll be happy to read it. And if there isn't, and if you would like to ask, yes, go ahead.
So in the purport, towards the end of the purport, these 4 pillars of religion, it's described the things that challenge or spoil those. It says that by pride, austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction, intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying, propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. I think it's the easiest one to understand is the last one, because a person that's not truthful is obviously a liar.
Yes.
So lying, it's well, the others are not so obvious to see, and I'll just one of them.
Please.
Too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. How is that? So I'm thinking that when you say female association, we're talking about women that are non-devotees.
Illicit sex.
Yeah, okay.
That ties in with that, because that is the fall down, when people are engaged in illicit sex outside of marriage, when they are just fooling around, sleeping around, that really affects, because that means that is an affection for not one, but many women, and they just want to just play around. So that's the illicit sex factor.
So
That's-
then the cleanliness of the mind then is affected.
Yes, because that's the attraction. That's the attraction for the opposite sex. And there are people like that out there, who are very much weak and they're very attracted to such. So that is the attraction of the mind that really disturbs that, and it brings down one's spiritual life. Yeah.
And too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. A person who is intoxicated is not merciful. I guess they don't think straight anyway.
They don't think straight anyway, because they are, in fact, that's when they say is when they're intoxicated, then all the crap comes out. So they don't think straight anyway. And those that are addicted, they don't know what is right and what is wrong. They're just sucked in.
In other words, they don't care.
They don't care.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then austerity is it's spoiled by pride. A person who is proud, puffed up for what they got, and so on. They probably will not want to be austere because they actually they're showing off more.
Yes, because what happens is that because austerity is very much tied for me, especially I mean, in my opinion, personal opinion, austerity is tied in with humility, because when one is proud, they are not humble.
They won't
And when
be.
they're not humble, then how can they be austere? Because austerity means like you have very little to live with. You don't have much amenities. You don't have so if they have a very simple austere life, there's nothing to be proud of.
Mhm.
Yeah. I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wanted
Thank you.
a little bit more into discussion about those.
Yeah. And of course, these four topics takes like like 4 classes, because we can go really deep into, the 4 pillars of religion, tying them into the 4 rules of regulation. It's like a whole, it can take about a few hours, because we have to like break it down, chalk it down. But here, Srila Prabhupada is just summarizing it. That's the word I was trying to find. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions from devotees? Any thoughts, any reflections, any takeaways from this really powerful power pact, as I call it, power pact purport? If there isn't, just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. If there isn't, we thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope that we will really meditate on these 4 principles and how to apply them in our personal spiritual life, how to be austere, how to be clean, external and internal, how to be truthful by being an open book, and how to receive mercy by not being by not being attached, applying the science of detachment. So those are very, very important points. We thank you all for joining us, and we hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. Vanchakaptubhyascha kripasindhabeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.